What took you so long?
I don't think it took me long at all. The race has 54, 55 odd days left. When I thought long and hard about it, I determined that the best time to enter the race would be post-Labor Day. People have families, they have summers, not much of one this year, but they have things to do and they're preoccupied with things. And I didn't think people would really want to turn their mind to municipal politics until post-Labor Day. So I figured post-Labor Day would be the time to throw my hat in the ring.
Now, with federal election just around the corner in 2015, I think a lot of people thought you were going to throw your hat into the ring for the Liberal banner. Are you still considering that,
No.
depending on the outcome?
No, I can say conclusively and absolutely I will not be running in the federal race, regardless of this outcome. I have no interest in doing that. My interest is specifically here. I want to stay in Sault Ste. Marie, and I think the greatest need is at City Hall. I think if you're sincere about public service, you have to ask yourself the question, where can I serve best, and where is service needed most? And I asked myself those two questions, and I determined that there was some leadership that was required at City Hall, and I thought I could bring that leadership to City Hall. And I was more attracted to doing that than I was interested in the federal race. So that's done, that's behind me, and regardless of what happens here, you won't see me there.
Okay. So let's talk about your platform for mayor.
Yeah.
What do you see being the most crucial issues facing the city?
Well, as you're aware, the nominations are still open, and they're open until September 12th. So we're not going to be releasing our full platform document until the nominations close. Other candidates might get in the race still. But the three things that I'm focused on and that I've been talking about are leadership, accountability, and responsible spending. We will flush those three positions out, and we'll provide a platform through my website and also through the materials that we'll be going door to door with, explaining what we're concerned about. But campaigns are twofold. Campaigns are an opportunity for the candidate to reach out to the community so the community can get to know the candidate and the candidate can tell the community what they think. But campaigns are also a time for the candidate to be in touch with the community and hear what the community is thinking. And I've been doing that. And I'm looking forward to doing that for the next couple of months. So I think there'll be an organic element to our platform in that respect. And you can do that through social media. You can do that through Facebook. You can do that through Twitter. You can also do that through your website. But on the leadership front, one of the things that I'm focused on is that, if we take just simply this PUC issue, if I was the mayor while we were having the challenges with our water supply in the community, I would have directly got involved in that. And I think the mayor has a responsibility to get involved in issues that frankly are large issues that are not ward dependent, right? And our water supply is a large issue. Probably nothing more fundamental than providing the people of Sault Ste. Marie with good, clean, potable water. So I would exercise that kind of leadership where I would directly get involved in the tough issues. There's also an issue with accountability. And we have to take a look at the mayor's office. And I think the mayor's office should really speak for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. And I think you should hear directly from your mayor. I think when there's an issue, when there's a challenge, it's the mayor who should be explaining it to you. It's the mayor who should be explaining his council's decision. It's the mayor who should be taking responsibility for where the city's going. And really, frankly, it's the mayor who has to draw together the provincial partner and the federal partner and the public sector, our college, our university, and the private sector, our small businesses. And we're also going to talk about responsible spending. And that's an important issue, and we've seen it recently. There's a lot of people that are turning their heads asking questions about why we would spend $1.5 million to retrofit a commercial space into a library. I think that's a great question. Now, there's reports and information that were before council that I don't have yet. I don't have access to them, and I haven't reviewed them. So it's important and responsible to review all the information. But people need to know what I think. And intuitively, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. I don't think it makes a lot of sense to spend $1.5 million of the taxpayers' money to retrofit a commercial space into a library. So we need to take a fresh look at how we're spending money. We have great employees at City Hall. So what I think we need to do is we need to talk to the service providers and ask them how they could do their jobs more efficiently and more effectively. We also need to talk to the service receivers, the people in the city, and ask them what they think we can do to improve our services. Because municipal politics, the city of Sault Ste. Marie, it's about public service. It's about serving the people that live in this city. So we need to talk to the people about their public services and what they think about them, and we also need to talk to the people who deliver them. They're very important. They're an important constituency. I think there's a lot of great staff at City Hall, and I'd welcome their advice and input.
Talking about city services, I mean, that's kind of tied into the local tax base and what money the city has to work with as far as spending goes.
Yeah.
Are we paying too much city tax?
Well, I think it's important to note that spending has increased substantially over the last 8 years. And, the city spends over $180 million a year. The reality is, is that you have to have priorities because the money's fixed. And if spending keeps on increasing, what's going to increase with spending? Taxes are going to increase with spending because one of the municipality's main ways of generating revenue is through its tax base. And I frankly think it's getting a lot harder for the residents of Sault Ste. Marie to make ends meet. And I think what we control at City Hall, what we can control is spending and taxes. So we have to make sure that our spending doesn't keep on climbing like it is. And we have to specifically so we can keep our taxes in check. And we can't continue the trend. We can't continue the trend of increased spending and increased taxes. We have a lot of residents of this city who have fixed incomes, whether they be seniors or whether they're on social assistance. And as taxes increase, when your income's fixed, it's hard to make up for that difference. And that comes out of quality of life.
How about infrastructure spending in the city? I know they have a long list of city-owned buildings that need some work and money spent on it and roads and stuff like that. Where would you put your priority for spending?
So so these are priorities, and you have a finite amount of money. So I agree with you. We have some old infrastructure. We just saw in the news this week that the PUC is borrowing $10 million to replace some substations. And if the information that I heard was accurate, I think they have to replace 15 substations at about $3 million each. It's $45 million. So what we have to do is look at where our most important infrastructure renewal is, right? What are the most important projects? And we have to start budgeting for those projects. So one of the things I'm going to be talking about in this campaign is a program review. And so that's what we can look at. How are we spending money now? Like what are we doing and how are we spending it? And are these the best ways that we could be spending it? For instance, let's just talk about that lease. Okay, we realized recently it's become news that we have a lease that we're spending about $100,000 a year on for a library space in the East End. So the city's a large corporation. It's entered into contracts and agreements for years and years. Some of those contracts and agreements might not make sense now. They might have made sense years ago when they were entered into, but they might not make sense now. So we have to take a look at that because I think there'll be money to be found there. There's $180 million being spent. There's some savings to be had. So when you're able to free up the money, you're going to invest those monies in things that are your priorities. And we talk about jobs and we talk about the economy. You need good infrastructure for jobs in the economy. So that is a very significant priority. Now with that, you have to, and this is about leadership, you have to work with the federal and provincial governments to have them contribute to your infrastructure projects. And that's tough right now. The province of Ontario doesn't have as much money as it used to. It's struggling too. The federal government isn't investing as much money in Northern Ontario as they used to, in my opinion. So you have to work with the parties that are there. You have to make your case. You have to lobby. We had a very, very aggressive mayor in John Roswell. John Roswell was a really good advocate for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. He flew places, he met with people, he really had a passion for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. I think I have a similar passion. I wouldn't be shy to go to Toronto with David Orzetti and talk to the ministers down there about what we needed. I wouldn't be shy to go to Ottawa with Brian and talk to the ministers down there about what we needed. I'll work with those two gentlemen side by side to convince their governments that they have to invest in our infrastructure.
So in 4 years' time, in closing, let's say you're elected, what is Sault Ste. Marie going to look like in 4 years?
Well, what I would really like to happen is at the end of the 4 years, I would like the people of Sault Ste. Marie to feel connected to the mayor's office. I'd like them to feel like they know who I am, that I took responsibility for my decisions, and that I was accountable. But I'd also like them to know where their money's been spent. I'd like them to have a better sense of that. And I'd like them, at the end of the 4 years, to look back at the 4 years and think, you know what? He kept the tax increases to a minimum. And he was really conscientious about how the city was spending my money.